Good morning. Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 692 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Tuesday, July 15th, 2025, the day after, and we didn't mention it yesterday, le jour de la Bastille in French, in France. Yes.
Forgot about that. Bastille,
Yes.
yes.
Indeed. Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Happy birthday to
You hear the people sing? No. Singing the songs of angry men.
And so yes, happy day to all our friends in Vive la France. I hope all of you had a wonderful day, and especially because we have a lot of French nationals or dual French nationals in Canada as well. So my bad for not mentioning it. I was on the web last night and said, "Oh yeah, that happened, didn't it?"
You know what? I was looking at a headline yesterday while we were on the show, and I meant to mention it, and then it just time got away from us. And it's like, oh, I got to go, and I completely forgot. So
there we go.
Salut mes amis.
Salut mes amis. All right. Let's see. So yeah, today's recording day, Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. It's a beautiful day here at the Beaver Lodge, as you can tell by the sun of my face. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, he, Mr. Beaver A. And with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corbin Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. To be honest, this one's a cobbled together show because I had a real hard time finding a theme. Actually, news is slowing down today, these days, and but I managed to get one, but it took some doing. It took some doing. I have to admit. But before we get into it, Mr. Grizzly, how is your mental health today, sir?
Well, it's not great at the moment, but it's only because I've been up since 3 a.m. And not by choice. I just woke up and could not get back to sleep. So I took Lola out earlier. She's already had her WALK, and she's sleeping beside me here in the studio. But when you don't get nearly enough sleep, it really does mess with you. Now, I fell asleep on the couch around 9:30 last night, woke up at 10:30, crawled into bed, then woke up at 12:30, 1:30, 3, and I've been up ever since. So not in the greatest headspace at the moment. A little bit of a headache, which is never wonderful. So yeah, I took some aspirin. Hopefully that'll help.
Okay, I'm in a similar space head-wise. I am a little sleep deprived, but that's only because, given that we were out all day Sunday, we went to Sandbanks Provincial Park,
Right.
and then did some touring in Prince Edward County with some friends. So I had missed the Wimbledon's men's final.
I missed it too. I saw the guy presenting with walking around with the trophy, but that was it. I missed the match altogether.
Well, I had two, but that was like by design, right? Because we weren't going to be there. So I managed because I never am able to successfully do this, right?
DVR?
It's well, to not hear the result before I get to see the match.
Oh, okay.
Because it's everywhere, right? You go on
Right.
social media to answer, like, a tweet, and, like, the first tweet
Hey,
you turn on your
congratulations,
Twitter, like,
goof.
and the first thing right there is, like, somebody holding the cup. It's like, "Come on, man." It's like, I've been working all day to avoid seeing it, so I managed to successfully avoid seeing it. But then we got back home, and it was, like, 10:30 at night or something, and it's like, "Well, do you wanna watch the match?" And it's like, "Well, I mean, this is my bedtime."
Mm.
Usually, if I wanna get 8 hours or, well, close to 8 hours before any hope of at least 6.5, let's say, before coming to the show. And I'm thinking, well, there's absolutely no way I'm going to get on the Twitter or social media the next morning and not see it either. So I watched it that night, 3 hours and 29 minutes. So so when I finally got to bed, it was like, and getting up to stretch a couple times and glass of water, go to the bathroom. And you're watching it, the on-demand one, so you can't fast forward over the commercials,
Right.
right? You have to watch everything. But I did, and I'm glad I did because it was a really great match, uh, and the result didn't get spoiled for me. But it was a short night the night before. I don't think I've fully gotten up yet. So
Probably not.
the Louis Vuittons that you have, is my right here is my dedication to the sport, the summer sport I love as
Who
a fan.
won, by the way? I saw him carrying a trophy around. I have no idea who it was.
Oh, it was Yannick Sinner.
Yeah, no idea who that is.
Yeah, he's the number 1 player in the world, and what happened is that Carlos Alcaraz, it was Sinner against Alcaraz again, so the French Open final was also Sinner against Alcaraz, and in the French Open final, Sinner had 3 match points. He was up 40-love
Mm.
on Carlos Alcaraz's serve, and all he had to do was 1, and he was walking away with the French Open. And Alcaraz came back and actually won that game, and then won the whole match. So basically, snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. And at that point, Alcaraz had been in 5 Grand Slam finals and won 5. He's 5-0, and he's only 23.
Well, I didn't watch much of Wimbledon this year because it was late.
Mhm.
Traditionally, it's in June.
Late June, it covers Canada Day.
Yeah, but that's usually by Canada Day, the winner's been declared. This is like, well past that. So it kind of
No, it always goes into July.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't remember
Yeah.
that. But I
When I
don't know.
saw it live, and we were already in July, and that was, like, in 2000.
Okay. I always remember it being late June, early July, but who knows? I mean, look, this year's been weird.
Oh, yeah. And the whole tournament was weird. Like, after the second round, I think there was, like, I think 10 of the 12 of the top seeds, men and women, had already been eliminated.
Right.
It was just a weird tournament all the way around. But in that match, and Sinner himself has 3 Grand Slams. So Carlos had 5 at that point. And in head-to-head matchups, however, Sinner, even though he was number 1 in the world, and Alcaraz had been number 1 in the world at some point, Sinner had never defeated Alcaraz himself. So that the French Open, he was like, so he had it.
Mhm.
He had it. He just one more point. Yes, and it slipped away from him. But this one, I don't know what Sinner did in the last, like, 6 weeks, but that man came prepared. Yes. It could have been a straight 3-set win for him. It went 4 sets, and 'cause Sinner had got the first break in the match, and Alcaraz did the thing that he usually does, comes back, like, near the end of the set and then just took it, and I thought, "Oh god, it's gonna be one of these ones again," right?
Right.
But, no, Sinner, buckled down, and, just the next 3 sets just rattled him up. He just, like, found this other gear, and as a tennis fan, watching them 2 play, because both of them can run so fast
Mhm.
from side to side, and they can both hit so hard, and they can both change the direction of the ball pretty much on a dime, that you're watching this ball. Remember the days when we used to play pong? and that little dot started going really fast and there was like
Mhm.
nothing you could do. It's like watching them, humans, do that. When you watch them play, the ball just goes so fast from side to side because they hit so hard, but they get back to it. Like they can do like 7, 8, sometimes 12 shot rallies with they're slamming the ball. And I'm thinking, oh my God, these poor guys, when they're like 28, their knees, their poor knees, because they
They don't
just,
feel it yet.
it's like, sometimes I'm watching it and I'm thinking like, do I have this on time and a half speed? Because the ball is just going, it's like, no, they're really hitting that hard and running that fast. So it was very, very entertaining, very engaging. And, we thought like when I'm watching the match and I'm thinking when Sinner turned it up, I'm thinking, okay, at some point he's going to have a dip. Because you cannot play this
Mhm.
well for that long, for 3 full sets. He played that well for that long for 3 full sets after losing the first one. He just
Well,
like he flipped a switch and that was it. It's like, "I'm winning this." And it was just even
I don't
watching him
know.
close it, right? You think, okay, the last one you're serving for all the marbles, you'd never beaten Alcaraz like this. Just a couple of months ago, you have it in the back of your head. You were this close and he came and got it from you, right? All the psychological stuff that can be going as you're trying to serve it out to win. Give me $3 million. You just like,
I
jeez,
I
man.
have other things to do. Please just send the check to me, please.
Yeah, and in the women's final, it was
You
the same.
e-transfer that?
Yeah, and the women's final was the same thing. Iga Swiatek was playing, Amanda Anisimova. She won 6-0, 6-0.
Mm,
Double bageled in a Grand Slam final.
that's pretty rare.
I was just like,
When was the last time that happened, you know?
I don't remember.
I'd have to look it up because I
Yeah,
can't tell you off the top of my head,
I think
ever
it's
remembering that happening.
yeah, I think there was a French Open, a woman, Amanda Lawson, whose name I've never heard of, and she was in the final against. Oh god, I can't they mentioned it on the show.
Mhm.
I can't remember. Now, I think it was her against Chris Evert, maybe?
Yeah, that's a long time. It was like 40 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
maybe, but I'd have to look that one up again. I might be wrong on that one.
Well,
But
what's her
yeah,
name? Margaret, what was
Margaret Court?
yes, yeah, she won. She's still the most winningest player in professional tennis history, correct?
Yeah, I think she's got 24 to her credit.
Yeah, nobody's even that close. I mean, she's still got more titles than anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, Serena was trying to get I think Serena got to 23 or something like that, and she was trying so hard to get to 24 near the end, and just, like, people just came up, and it's like, "Bianca Andreescu, sorry, nope."
Yeah. It's
It's
just
like
like, you know what? You're at the end of your career now. Hey, you've had an amazing career and made tons of money. Margaret Court did not make a lot of money.
no,
Barely made anything,
right,
right? Now
yes.
she was a great tennis player, not the best person. Kind
What?
of, she was a sort of an Anita Bryant, if you will,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, there we go. It was, the French Open in 1988, and it
See, there
was,
you go.
Steffi Graf that had, done it at that point, and I can't remember, who it was against, though.
So that's what, 37 years ago?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it was impressive to watch, and I like watching doubles, and it's not very much on TV,
Mhm.
and for the men's doubles, it was the first time since 1937 that an all-British duo
Oh,
won at home, and that was a really fun match to watch. So, yeah, it was a weird Wimbledon,
mhm.
but it was a very, uh, satisfying one ultimately at the end.
Well, I don't know if you caught any of the FIFA World Club match, but,
No, I missed them all actually.
well,
Yes?
okay, let's see if I can find it. So they present the trophy at the end of the match, and, well, there was some awkwardness, we'll say that, because, Trump got on the stage to present the trophy, and then
Mm.
usually
Oh.
after the presentation, you vamoose, right? No,
Mm.
he stayed with the team
Mm.
and celebrated like he was the man or something. I had a clip of it here, but I'm just trying to find it, and I'm like, "What is he doing? Like, this is weird." And no, he stayed up there. Now, got a clip right here. I'll show it to you. It's really awkward. I'm like, what is wrong with this man? He thinks it's all about him. I
What?
mean, he thinks it's all about him, right? Probably get this, but no, this is somebody's phone. We probably won't. See him standing there, right? Yeah, applauding, man. Yay. And then the guy from FIFA's trying to get him off the stage as the team celebrates. And he's like, come on, let's go. We got to get off the stage. We got to get off the stage. This is not about us. It's about the team. Let's go. So that ain't working. I'll push him in the back to get him. It's just, wow.
I know. It's like, get out of the shot.
Get out of the shot. It's not
Get out of the
you.
shot. It's like, it's not your club. It's not your team. You didn't manage it. Get out of the shot. Oh my God.
Refused to leave. Well, and the other story that he kept the one. He's got the original one in the Oval Office. That was a replica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He kept it. He's like, and he's bragging about it. Yeah, well, they told me to hang on to it, and they said they were making another one, so I kept it. And they said, no, that's yours now. I'm like, yeah, did they really though?
No.
Did they really?
No. Yeah. That's like when I saw that clip of him after announcing that he had he was going to do the 35% tariffs. It's like, yeah, I was on the phone on Thursday. He says, I was on the phone with Canada, and it seems to have been well received, and everybody from Canada is going, we never called him.
No, there was no.
Listen, if he's saying it for American TV, or if the White House is saying it for American TV, you really have to seriously doubt if it actually happened.
Look, his tablet is an Etch-a-Sketch. That's what it is. His tablet is an Etch-a-Sketch. It's like, he's like, I don't know what's wrong with it. Oh, here, let me reboot it for you. Take it and shake it really hard upside down. There you go.
Yeah.
I use the dials and you can write your messages again.
I know. It's like after months and months of after weeks and weeks of negotiating, Carney hasn't been there for months and months. After all this time negotiating, I just unilaterally, in the middle of a good faith negotiation, in which Canada seems to be doing everything right, just decided it was going to be 35% tariffs like this, and it was well received. Yeah, if you've been paying attention to Canada at all since any of this happened, like there is no galaxy, universe, solar system, postal code, area code, planet, continent in which that news was well received. Boo Boo Kitty, we know you're making that one up. Anybody who knows Canada knows that was not well received. Just like I was like, oh yeah, I climbed all over them and then made them force something down their throats, and yeah, they loved it. They had no problem with that. They said, yeah, thank you, that was great. We want to sign on to that. Give us another slice with 2 scoops.
You need to understand how this man's mind works. And I actually saw him in a deposition one day, a number of years ago, in a deposition. They said, well, what is your net worth? He goes, well, I just decide what I feel like I'm worth that day. And I just decide I'm worth $1 billion. I'm worth $1 billion. And in my mind, I'm worth $1 billion. It's like, okay, in your mind you are, but what is your actual net worth? Well, $1 billion or 2 billion or whatever he said it. I'm watching this going like, this man is completely delusional. It's one thing to believe I'm going to be a success. You can say that and be in every fiber of your being. It's another thing to say you're something you are not and believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I got a great joke for you, Mr. Grizzly. It's a guaranteed get-rich scheme.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guaranteed to get rich?
Commit massive fraud.
Buy Donald Trump for what he's actually worth and sell him on the market for what he thinks he's worth.
Oh, yeah, that'll so a couple of bits, and now I'm worth $1 billion.
Guaranteed get-rich scheme works every time.
60% of the time, it works every time.
What? I can imagine him saying something like that.
And believing it? Yeah. Like the most interesting man in the world. He speaks French in Russian. What? I had an awkward moment once just to discover what it would feel like. That is still the greatest beer ad campaign in history, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, kids and cubs. Let's. Okay, well, let's get into it here. Um, as I mentioned before on previous show,
Mhm.
Trump. There's a couple of things we know about him. He's lazy.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't like to do the work,
No, no, no.
and he's impatient. Uh, Basically, the news today, like this, the title of the show is Mired in Muck, because with all the narratives that are going around, whether it's Trump in the trade, whether it's Pierre and what it is that he's trying to do to still try to become prime minister, whether it's like Daniel Smith or Vladimir Putin or
Mhm.
various leaders, um, people seem to just be going. We seem to be going around in circles.
Oh, yes.
Right? It just seems that we keep on no matter what we're doing, we keep on ending the back at the same damn spot. And there's a lot of commentary and there's a lot of news and we're spilling a lot of ink and putting a lot of bandwidth and using a lot of airwaves, but we nothing seems to really be moving in any positive direction. And it can be extremely frustrating, especially for those of us like me who are impatient optimists. It's like
Mhm.
it's gonna get better, but can we fucking get going already? This God. So so hopefully, we'll have a couple of points of light for you because, again, as, everybody on the Daily Beans keeps on saying, right now, we're just microdosing on hope.
Well,
Microdosing on
I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
to get through the next day. So but hopefully, there is some stuff. Um, with Trump, with these deals, clearly, and we saw signs of this a long time ago, there was not gonna be 90 deals in 90 days.
God, no.
That was not happening, which means he was gonna fail. And in Trump psychology, we have learned that Trump never fails.
Yeah.
Trump's a winner. He wins. That's what he does.
He just moves the goalposts each time in the goal line. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So the whole it would be like the chessboard is an etch a sketch in this case.
Mhm.
Right here are all the pieces. Shake, shake, shake. Okay, now this is the chessboard. Now shake, shake. Now this is the chessboard. Now shake, shake. Right. Um, but the thing is that up here,
Mhm.
he always has to win.
Oh,
And
yeah.
not only does he always have to win because up here there's s somebody did not get enough hugs when he was a kid
Very
or
true.
something, or enough
Very
validation.
obvious.
Somebody has to lose. Win-win does not exist in
No.
this, guys. I only win if you lose,
Yeah.
and I always win, so you always lose. And even when it's I who loses, right? I mean,
I
this
still
guy bankrupted casinos and whatnot, and you
6
still
times.
got people turning around going, "Trump is running America like a business." Yeah, and have you seen what he's done to his businesses? Right? They get to the first part, but they don't get to the second part. Yes, and I'm I'm starting to wonder if they even know about the second part really, because, I
Doubtful.
mean, it's not like it's not if they only listen to Trump, it's not like Trump talks about the time he failed.
No, 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 no.
I
He
mean
doesn't
I
fail.
mean,
Just
Trump I remember, I think that Trump was asked one time like this, if there's, if he had to talk to God or something like that, was there anything he'd regret? And he said, "No, I don't think so." Right? It's like,
What's your favorite passage from the Bible? Well, it's very personal. I really don't need to discuss that because you've never opened the damn book.
you don't know one.
You don't know a single passage. You've never read it.
There's something with bread and fish, the most lovely fish, the best fish you've ever had.
Well, that would be the New Testament, right? Wouldn't even know what that is. His
So
favorite book is All Quiet on the Western Front because every time he's been asked, "What are you reading right now?" he always says, "All Quiet on the Western Front," because he can't actually say it's Mein Kampf because that's what he reads. That's his Bible. I'm
he's
not joking. It's people have reported on this.
he's gotten to page 7.
Yeah.
He's still stuck on it.
Well, I forget
That's
who
like
it was
his
a few
favorite
years
book.
ago. Somebody started the rumor that the man can't read. Like he's illiterate. And they go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Watch this. Every deposition, I don't have my reading glasses. I can't see this."
Mhm.
It's how he avoids prosecute. Well, I'm sorry, I don't have my reading glasses. I can't read this.
Yep.
It's like, no, he can't read. No, that's his way of copying out and getting out of prosecution. Okay, we'll have to reschedule. Okay, 60 days from now.
Mhm. Yeah, indeed. So, this here from David Baxter, Kelly Malone from the Canadian Press. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday that the letters he sent to Prime Minister Mark Carney and other leaders about new tariffs are the deals, as Carney prepares to meet with his cabinet on tariffs and trade negotiations. So he's doing that today. The three meetings, I finally got the dates for the other ones. So the three meetings are the meetings with his cabinet and a couple of extra people today. The meetings, I think, with members of the First Nations community on Thursday, and then the meeting with the provincial and territorial premiers in the Muskoka regions on the 22nd next week. So those are the three big things that he has going on. Trump appeared to be losing patience with his administration's efforts to make trade deals with nations around the world. The president has been sending letters to trading partners, including Canada, threatening to impose higher tariff rates on August 1st. The letter addressed to Carney last week said Canada would be hit with 35% tariffs, but the White House later said it would not include goods compliant with Canada-US-Mexico agreement on trade. And then now there's some questionings emerging. It's like, well, why is it 35% for Canada, but only 30% for Mexico and the EU? Stop looking for logic or reason. It's just, it's 35 because that's how he felt like today. I'm sure there's probably no other reason than that. Quote, I watched a show this morning and they were talking about, well, when's he going to make the deal? The deals are already made. The letters are the deals. The deals are made. There are no deals to make.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Let's repeat that again.
Yeah.
I watched a show this morning and they were talking about, well, when's he going to make the deals? Seems like somebody's a little touchy. The deals are already made. The letters are the deals. The deals are made. There are no deals to make.
What? So I'm trying to get around the verbal gymnastics here, but the deals are made. The letters are the deals. The deals are made. There are no deals to make.
All the deals are made. There are no more deals to make. Stop asking me the damn question. Stop asking me about Epstein. Stop talking about Epstein and stop asking me about those damn deals that I promised you that there would be so many of because everybody would be kissing my ass and they never really materialized. So stop asking me about it. The deals are made. There are no more deals to make. Someone's a little sensitive.
You think?
So, yeah. And he said that during an Oval Office meeting with NATO Secretary Mark Rutte, who I'm sure after that little tantrum called him daddy again to soothe him and then handed him a sippy cup.
Big daddy energy.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing this man, and he's not smart enough to recognize that he's being made fun of.
I'm not sure the D in that expression stands for daddy. Definitely big dick energy. However, and we're not talking about the mushroom.
No.
The man's just a dick.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So they would like to do a different kind of deal, and we're always open to talk. Okay, again.
Wait a minute.
The deals.
There are no deals to make. We're always open to talking.
He wants you. Listen, I'm getting visions of 17 or 18-year-old boy or girl sitting by the phone. Prom is coming. Hoping for Brad or Chad or Tad.
Or Biff. There's
to
always
call.
a Biff in there, right?
Pardon?
There's always a Biff in there somewhere.
A Biff. To call. Invite them to the dance.
Oh,
or let's say,
would you like to attend the prom with me?
Like this. Or maybe we have to, we're talking Trump, so maybe we have to go back Sadie Hopkins rather than prom. But it's like, and nobody's calling him. Nobody's inviting him to dance. Like I heard Jan Arden singing at 17 in the background. People are, they know there's no point, so they don't want to invest the time. But you got to maintain the appearances, or else he gets all upset and then unilaterally throws your country a curveball. Not paying enough attention to me. Well, here, there's 35% tariffs now. Oh, you want to talk now? Look, everybody was coming to talk to me. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And it's pitiful. actually, if it weren't for the fact that he was the most powerful person in the world and could upend everybody's lives, we'd just be all of us collectively around the world would just be looking at him, cocking our heads and going,
Well, remember
"Muffin."
he did say, "I run the world." So he knows he's the most powerful man in the world, but he's just not very smart.
I know, but it's just like, "Oh, poodle. Bless your heart." Right? That's what we would be doing. But he's got his hands on the button, and he can he's such a player for the world economy given his position that we can't just do that. We have to sort of entertain him and step into his world, which is just a mess. It's just a mess. So, yeah, stop asking about the deals. The deals are done. The deals are made. We're July today. We're the 15th, but this is July 14th. So there's like 17 more days or 18 more days to August 1st, which is like forever in Trump world. He can change his mind 30 more times in the next 18 days. And he's hoping that everybody calls him and starts kissing his butt and whatnot, and then he can turn
He's
around
gonna
and
taco.
right?
Taco.
Yeah. And the thing is that even he is so wedded to the idea that there's going to be tariffs of some kind that right now it seems that we're in a position of how much tariffs we're going to willingly accept in exchange for imposing no tariffs, right? Which is a bad deal to start with for everyone. Right. So, and this is the part that has me pulling my hair out when I hear all these conservative pundits and whatnot. And says, he should have moved faster, or he should have done this in another order, or he should have given Trump just give Trump what he wants on the border, and everything will be fine. How did that work out for you, Danielle? Right.
Well, let's look at he's saying it's the fentanyl coming in from Canada. 26 kilos have been seized at the Canadian border this fiscal year,
which is slightly more than last year.
Yeah, 3,700 kilos of the drug have been seized at the Mexican border in the same time frame.
But it's being seized at the border.
So the job is being done. Can you believe how many illegals they caught at the border? Isn't that their job?
It's like you can't.
So yes, we should applaud them for doing well.
Yes. So he continues. Trump Saturday posted a letter to Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum on social media, which said Mexico would be hit with 30%. A separate letter to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen declared 30% rate for the European Union. There's no clarity on why Canada is facing a higher tariff than either Mexico or Mexico or the EU. Christopher Sands, director of Johns Hopkins University Center for Canadian Studies, said Canada and Mexico are the top two U.S. trade partners, and Canada is a national security partner as well. Quote, now Canada is hit with a 35 tariff while Mexico only gets 30 tariff, Sands said in a text message. Carney went the extra mile for Trump now, but he may not have the public support in Canada to continue it for long. And that Carney does not have the support from Canadians to go the extra mile with Trump. He has the support from Canadians to do whatever he needs to do with Trump to try to keep whatever crap he's doing at bay for as long as possible while we reorganize. Right? There might have been a time where we hoped that some type of deal was possible in the sense that the first time around, when we negotiated CUSMA, at least for the rest of his term, he respected it. And in some ways, he's still respecting it. Right?
To a degree.
To a degree, in some ways, exempting the CUSMA trade from these weird tariffs. But I mean, there's still 50% on steel and aluminum because those were, those were brought in under a whole other rationale. He's got the rationale of the national security threat and whatnot, but the steel and aluminum ones were brought in through another type of rationale. So I mean, we're still getting slammed. Don't get me wrong, but there are certain instances where he is still respecting CUSMA, and for all of his turmoil and whiplashing and pulling the rug out and all that kind of stuff, Trump still has not personally insulted Mark Carney because And even though every now and then, from the safety of his side of the border, because when he's desperate, we'll mention 51st state like this. And every now and then he brings it up. The number of times he's mentioned it over the last 6, 7 weeks versus in the weeks, before Trudeau was leaving, there's a marked difference. There's a drop,
Oh, yes.
right? So he's doing all these things, and we're Canada's nasty and tough to deal with and all. Yeah, of course we are, because look what you're trying to do to us. We don't have some of the best trade negotiators in the world for no reason. But he hasn't taken that step, right, of when he's like totally given up. So whatever for all of the stuff that Trump is doing, Mark Carney must be doing something in a certain way that makes it such that Trump won't say anything bad about him, even though he's saying a couple bad things about Canada now and then. And I mean, if Canada is saying that like we're very nasty and tough to deal with, I mean, these days that kind of stuff coming out of Trump's mouth is actually a compliment with regard to the world stage. I mean, Trump is not intending it as a compliment.
Oh, goodness, no.
But it means that we're doing something right. If we're managing to frustrate him by the manner in which we are negotiating trade, it's because we're being tough. And even though Trump publicly throws tantrums, he seems to respect tough negotiators, even though he doesn't like it. So, again, microdosing hope. Just noticing the fact that, he hasn't gone personal. Maybe there's something there yet. But I think we probably need to get to the point where we're changing the metrics by which we're evaluating Mark Carney's performance. And it shouldn't be anymore, will he get a deal or not get a deal? Because, first of all, what's a deal? With Vietnam, that alleged deal apparently was never on paper yet. Nobody had signed anything.
I mean,
but everybody was touting it as a deal. It seems like these are all going to be sort of handshake deals. And basically, Trump puts out his hand, grabs your hand, shakes you. That's the deal. So it would seem, right?
That makes perfect sense, yes.
Yeah. So I think we might need to stop looking at this as, is he going to be successful at getting a deal or not a deal? Because even if he does, how long does it last? How long, and all that kind of stuff. And it's, is he able to handle, manage, massage, placate, sweet talk, whatever is needed, fluffed, make sure that he gets his 2 scoops on a regular basis. Is he able to do that to Trump long enough, distract him with that type of stuff? Long enough for us to set those other deals so that it matters less and less and less how stable a deal with the United States ultimately is. And I think that might be the win here.
You think so? I mean, really? Well, it's possible.
Because the thing is, let's put it this way. If he unloads absolutely everything right now, like if he actually just blitzed us with everything that he could, yes, we'd have to move faster and make these changes. But the amount of pain that we would take as we are doing this would be immense. It would be quite a shock. Right now, we've gotten through the first 5 months. Yes, 55,000 manufacturing jobs lost, and we need to do something about that. But the economy growing, the dollar growing, and last month having recorded a slight job gain. Our trade exports have been going up to compensate for what's been lost for the United States. Those are wins.
Oh, yes.
Under this circumstance, because anything that we are doing to prevent Trump for just saying, fuck these guys, 50% tariffs here, 50% tariffs here, 35% tariffs here. I don't care about COSMA. I don't care about everything. Let's just and maybe lob a couple of bombs across the border too, right? Who knows with this guy? The more we can keep on getting in the room with him
Mhm.
and chatting, even though the chats are completely and utterly pointless because he
They
will
are.
do what he does anyway.
Well, you watched and you saw what Prime Minister Mark Carney did as chair of the G7 when hosting. He
Yep.
just shut everything down. It's like,
Yeah.
as chair, I'm going to put an end to this right now. And I'm like, yeah, because he's just bloviating. So there's no point in listening to this idiot go on and on about how big of an election I won was, the biggest ever, when that was not even the case.
But the other point of that too is if the journalists keep on asking the questions and they start getting saltier and spicier and getting to the points on the body, which makes them very sensitive, that makes what's going to happen in the room next
Yeah.
not great. He's going to carry that. He's going to go into that room with his arms crossed and hugging him, soothing himself, and like this. And whatever's going to happen in that room is going to be. So it's like, okay, let's shut this down right now because you guys get to ask him questions now, but we got to deal with him for the rest of the next 2 days.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
We're just gonna get on because once he gets on a rampant tangent, he's not gonna shut up.
yeah, right. So there's a lot of Trump is really. Think of the most high maintenance person you have ever dated, and then multiply that by 1,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then put them on speed. Okay. So maybe we have to lower our standards here. And the win is keeping him occupied and distracted enough that he does less than his worst until we have such enough time to reorganize.
Mhm.
That when he actually does get frustrated enough to do his worst, it maybe doesn't hit so hard anymore. Delaying the inevitable might be the win.
Entirely possible, yes.
And
I mean,
getting
we don't know. Look, they've got a plan in place. Mark Carney knows how to negotiate a good deal. And as I've spoken to some individuals in different branches have said, look, we have our PR people, for want of a better term, right? Our comms people, I guess would be the best term, and our comms techs ready to go at a moment's notice because we're always having to do something because this guy just keeps changing his damn mind every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and the government has to constantly address. They don't want to. They're like,
our time and our money could be much better spent using those same trade negotiators to do more stuff with the rest of the world.
but we just
But we have to have a dedicated team on this guy, right?
Yeah. We have to. We don't have a choice because he changes his mind every 5 bloody minutes.
Plus, he
He's also a
listens to the last.
goldfish.
Yeah. Plus, he listens to the last voice in his ear. So
Yeah.
having a dedicated team on him all the time increases the chances that you were the last voice in his ear.
Well, I read something the other day saying that Navarro, who was one of his big chief financial strategists, got the gig because Jared Kushner saw him write something somewhere about Bitcoin or something, and he thought, this guy is pretty smart. So he told Trump that, and Trump said, well, hire him.
And then they learned.
They didn't look at his pedigree. They hired him because Jared said, well, I know a guy. Yeah, I know a guy too. But I want somebody who's actually qualified and maybe should, go before a committee to see if he's qualified.
Yeah. The article goes on. Carney will meet with his cabinet today for the first time since Trump's latest folly in the trade deal, and he is to meet with premiers next week. Fed Hampson, an international affairs professor at Carleton University, said that Carney should keep his head down, not take the bait of responding directly in public to Trump's latest threat, and get the best deal possible at the table with American officials. Again, as I have to add now, assuming that there actually is a deal to be had. Because that's why I'm seriously thinking like we need to stop thinking that there is actually a deal to be had here, and that the objective has to be something else now.
Mhm.
Quote, there's a fundamental asymmetry in the Canada-US trading relationship. We're largely in the business of exporting commodities and intermediate goods, and that gives Trump a certain amount of leverage, Hampson said. But it also exposes U.S. industries, U.S. manufacturers. We're already seeing evidence of that, the 50% tariff on aluminum. Hampson said that if Trump is going to respond to anything, it is these domestic pressures of American consumers and manufacturers being charged more for goods and materials. And that's another part. Like this, we have to. Part of this is just us sitting back and weathering the storm long enough for it to hit in the United States hard enough for Trump to maybe tackle himself because the calls are coming from inside the House.
Mhm.
Quote, he's beginning to get political blowback, and this comes back to Canada. We just have to be patient, Hampson said. That's very difficult when people are saying, you've got to stand up to this guy. You've got to wield the big stick. No, that's not how you win with Trump. Trump's tariff letter once again targets the issue of fentanyl coming from Canada to the U.S., the original justification for tariffs on both Canada and Mexico, along with illegal immigration and border security. And as you were mentioning, Mr. Grizzly, U.S. Customs and Border Protection data shows that about 26 kilograms have been seized at the Canadian border this fiscal year, while 3,700 kilograms of the drug have been seized at the Mexican border in the same time frame. But Mexico gets the 30% tariff and we get the 35%.
Yeah.
There is no consistency. There's no logic. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. Stop wasting your time looking for some. There isn't any.
Well, I don't need anything Canada has. Nothing. I don't need a single thing from them. I'm going to take them over. What?
I know.
They should join our country. They should become the 51st state.
Our cherished 51st state.
But you don't have anything. We don't have anything you want or need, but you want us to be.
But he wants everything we got. He wants all of this maple syrupy goodness.
Did we turn off the tap? Did we turn off the tap yet for that big tap?
Don't give the guy more ideas, man. They already think we're sending down the smoke on purpose. And Canada, hey, how's it doing up there? The steak that you're cooking, it smells great, but the smoke is coming here and it's getting in the way of our barbecue. Could you turn that down? Yeah, sure. We'll get right on that, eh?
We'll get right on that.
It's like,
we'll just get big fans to blow it up again. Does that work for you?
But you've got people, whether they actually think how this is how it works or it doesn't, because are willing to get in front of a camera and microphone and act as if it is. Cray for pay.
Yeah.
They're willing to be cray for pay. Once you understand that these people have to not care what they look like at all.
Because they clearly don't.
Because even if they do, the price of admission is not caring what you look like.
Mhm.
It's being utterly and completely shameless and oblivious to anybody pointing out that you're inconsistent. That's the basic price of admission to be a player in Trump world. And if you can, knowing that the internet and digital is forever, be happy with the fact that 10 years from now, there's going to be a whole bunch of video on you somewhere saying things that did not age well at all. That'll probably limit your career and not everything. But if you are okay with that, you can play. It's like all the natural, normal standards of basic decency. And it's like, don't you care what you look like? And are you not ashamed? And really, are you not afraid that your grandchildren are going to see this 30 years from now and go, what the hell were you thinking? None of that matters. That's not the world they're functioning in. And a lot of these people, like I said, they keep on saying that politics is show business for homely people or people that didn't have the talent to make it entertainment. Because if this whole thing in the United States is a constant audition for American Idol.
Well, it certainly seems like it.
The political version.
Did you notice that yesterday the House Republicans, actually it was last night, blocked the Democrats' maneuver to force the release of the Epstein files? All but one Republican voted to block it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, that one's not working for him very well, too, eh? He's got the public turning on him now.
He keeps screaming, stop talking about Epstein. Oh, we're going to talk about it even more now.
We've got people burning their MAGA hats now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, even the most deplorable Republicans, many of them have children and daughters, and they don't care to hear that their daughters would have been trafficked or SA'd by some rich dude who shared her like a blanket to other rich dudes, that hits closer to home than a lot of people might realize.
Yeah, it's like somebody said, okay, it's like at least Democrats and Republicans can still agree that pedophilia is bad.
Yes. Sex trafficking is bad.
Jeez, it's about the only thing we can agree on.
Although a lot of the sycophants are like, just lay off Epstein. Yeah, but didn't like just a few months ago you say release the files? Some of his sycophants and supporters. Now they're like, just leave it alone. Get rid of it. Stop talking about it. I'm like, why is that? Because your Lord and Master told you to stop talking about it? Why is that? Why would Trump want you to stop talking about the Epstein files?
And why would he be mentioning it so damn often?
There's nothing in there.
Right? It's not so much what he talks about, it's how frequently he talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he keeps on coming back to something over and over and over again, there's a reason.
Well, he's trying to gaslight people into believing that there's nothing in the file. I've heard him. There's nothing in there. They don't exist. There's nothing in there. But next, you're going to say Epstein didn't exist, and you never met him. But he said you were best friends for 10 years.
I think he got us coffee once. I flew to the island on his plane so he can get me coffee.
Yeah, we had a coffee. Yeah.
Like, cause I mean, and he just lost his mind. He had this whole screed on Truth Social here that I am not going to read because it is disjointed. But just to give you a little look, it starts with what's going on with my boys and in some cases gals. They're going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job. We are on one team, MAGA. I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world. And selfless people are trying to hurt it over a guy that never dies, Jeffrey Epstein, blah, blah, blah. Like this. But all of it, look, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay. Again, I keep on saying, we found the place on the body where it hurts when you press.
Let's keep pressing.
Let's keep pressing. You got Alex Jones making videos from his car again, going, it's like, I'm sick to my stomach. I could throw up. And it's like, oh, yes, Alex Jones. Yes. Because after all the things you said about the Sandy Hook kids, yeah, you actually care about
children.
Kids and that might have been hurt by Epstein. Yeah, we believe that. Sure, Jan. You got Elon, in that first feud when the divorce was happening, going, he's in the Epstein files. And then he deletes that post and then it's not going well again. So he brings it back up again. Like you mentioned, you got prominent Democrats that are asking for all related documents with Trump's name in them. They're turning on the guy. And Mr. Grizzly, do you happen to have the little video on Trump tanking on immigration lined up?
Just a second. I don't know. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, just give me a sec here.
And then I saw this tidbit. Harry Entman, I believe it is, the pollster guy for CNN, pointing to some numbers about what people are thinking about Trump on immigration. Now, again, immigration. This is his marquee go-to file that you just get out of jail free card whenever something's going wrong. Just talk about those caravans again. Just talk about those MS-13 drug dealers or something like that. And then, all the red mail base goes, oh, yes. And then open up their wallet and throw money again, right? This is his security blanket.
Hang on a sec here. There we go. That should work better.
How is the president doing on immigration at this point?
In a word, Kate, oof. What are we talking about here? Take a look at this. Trump's net approval rating on immigration. Got 5 numbers for you across the screen here. A lot of focus on Gallup at minus 27. That's horrible. Quinnipiac University, minus 16. That's awful. Marist is bad at minus 9. Ipsos is minus 8. Fox at minus 7. Bad. So going from your left side, bad, to just downright terrible on the right side of your screen, the American people have turned against President Donald Trump on what was his best issue, one in which he had a positive net approval rating for most of his term, and arguably the issue that got him, of course, the GOP nomination all the way back in 2016.
Aww. You
What
just
a
love to
shame.
see it.
What
So
a shame.
again, right? MAGA is starting to turn. Some of his supporters are starting to turn. These tariffs, the more he goes crazy, this are going to be paid by Americans. Brazil, what he's doing with Brazil on the tariffs, which makes it look like there's no rhyme or reason for the tariffs, right? The Brazil thing is what's really sinking him
Oh,
because he
yes.
really looks like he is meddling in other people's affairs. And like he's like thinking 50% on them. And Brazil, Lula da Silva is just not having it. He's got no time for Trump whatsoever because Trump tried to stop him from becoming president. He was all in. That the election result between Jair Bolsonaro and him was relatively close, which is why Bolsonaro tried, allegedly, we still have to say, to pull that coup for which he's now, trying to be drawn into court, which again, Trump gets a little sensitive because I guess he sees himself there and doesn't want Americans getting any ideas about what you do with a former president who tries to lead a coup. Pay attention to Brazil, people.
Yeah.
Pay attention to Brazil. So this De Silva guy has no time for him whatsoever. De Silva has no fucks left to give when it comes to Trump. None.
As does most of the rest of the world. And there are so many delusional people think, well, we're the biggest marketplace. We've got all the people. We get 8.3 billion people in the world. 347 million of them live in the United States of America.
Yeah.
You're the 0.3.
Yeah. Now, Brazil is only the United States' 15th largest trading partner. But, kids and cubs, if I was Mark Carney, hey, De Silva,
What's up,
let's
bro?
be besties.
What's up, bro?
It's like, I'd be working that phone and I'd be trying to make sure that I become his new bestie.
Oh, yeah.
Because we need another person on the American shelf, the America shelf, that has no fucks left to give either, and is just as resolved as we are to tell me, you know what, fuck you.
Basically, all of Europe has said that. China is pretty close to doing the same. They realize it's still their biggest market, but you have to look at the size of the middle class in both China and India, the two most populous nations on earth, which have a very large and growing middle class. And what do middle classes do? Spend money because they have disposable income. And what do they spend it on? Whatever the hell they want. So, ramp up the trade. It's only a matter of time before the U.S. economy completely collapses.
Well, that's the thing. So that's why I'm saying maybe our strategy really is, because Mark Carney understands how bond markets work, understands how trade works. It's like, okay, you know what? There's no deal to be had. What do we do to wait this out with minimal damage to us?
Mm-hmm.
How do we mitigate as much damage as possible while we wait for this to hit?
Well, doesn't Japan own most of the U.S. bonds?
I'm not sure about what percentage, but
I know we have a lot.
yeah, we have over 360, I think it is,
Billion?
$billion dollars
Mm.
of U.S. debt. But I'm just going to take a look here. Who owes? U.S. federal government is the largest single holder of U.S. debt with over 20% of the national debt held by government entities. The rest is held by the public, both domestically and foreign entities. Among foreign holders, Japan, China, and the United Kingdom are the largest. There we go. USA facts.
Yeah, I think Japan has the largest share and then China shortly thereafter, if memory serves. I was reading something about it the other day. The only problem, I read so much, I can't remember everything, and I forget to bookmark a lot of stuff because it's just the ADHD brain. You read it, it goes in your head,
Yeah.
you keep it there, and you know.
Yeah, there we go. Over the past 20 years, Japan and China have owned more U.S. treasuries than any other foreign nation. Between December 2000 and April 2024, Japan grew from owning $556.3 billion to just over $1.1 trillion.
Mm.
China's ownership grew from $105.6 billion to $749. So yeah.
And what's their national debt at? 3 or 4 trillion right now? Or is it higher than that?
It's got to be higher here because here it says 5 countries hold about $3.3 trillion in U.S. treasuries, roughly 40% of all foreign assets. So Japan's first, China's second, the UK's third, Luxembourg is fourth, and Canada is fifth.
Oh, it's a lot. I've got this U.S. national debt clock. I'll put this in the chat. It's really cool. By the look, the U.S. national debt is 37 trillion, 105 billion, 820 million. It just keeps climbing. It keeps climbing.
So Canada's
108,000 per citizen.
Yeah, Canada is the 5th largest owner of U.S. debt. At some point, again, because he is pissing off all of the world, at some point, I cannot imagine a scenario where there is not going to be some concerted and coordinated international action. But he's the big kid on the block, but all of us together, we outnumber him.
Oh, yes. So 37 trillion is their national debt. And we own 350 billion. Japan has, what'd you say, $1.5 trillion?
Yeah. Basically, Japan, Canada, United States, Luxembourg, and Canada all together own about 3.3 trillion of that.
Okay. Okay, there you go.
About
now
40%.
The U.S. being the U.S. federal government that owns the most.
Yeah, and 20% is, owns 20%. So, yeah, it's amazing. It's just, wow.
Well, you got to see this clock, man. I just put it in the chat. It's got it's really cool. It's got every number you can think of. I just bookmarked it. Let me share it on the screen. You got to see this thing. It's really cool. So there you go. And you can see everything is there and all the numbers as they increase. I'm sure some decrease, but
that's a very, very, very busy graphic.
Oh yeah. Look, and it just keeps, there's the U.S. population, 341,970,000. U.S. workforce, 164,456,000. Officially unemployed, 7 million.
Oh, wow.
Healthcare costs, 2025, 15,637, 2,000, 5,000. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, indeed. So when it comes to all of this with Canada, right? You got Energy and Natural Resources Minister Tim Hodgson that just quietly said, we're now focused on August 1st as the deadline. So Canada is basically, yeah, he's talked about 50% on copper. He's talked about up to 200% on pharmaceuticals. He's talked about 35% there, like this. Oh, he wants to move it to August 1st. Okay, fine, August 1st. That's the new deadline. That's what we're focused on, and we're not really saying much here. We have Industry Minister Melanie Joly, who says, and this is where some of my thinking comes from when I heard this. She goes, "We're in solution mode. And we're trying to make sure that ultimately, while the U.S. is becoming weaker, we will become stronger and we will diversify and turn ourselves towards Europe." So that's where my thinking is. It's like, okay, can we just mitigate this guy, put him in a corner, reduce the damage, give him some shiny things to look at and play with while we just reorient as quickly as possible because nothing's happening here. And then you get the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby. I've reviewed the letter. The letter is flailing. It's factually incorrect. And other F words do come to mind. People are literally, they just have no time. And somebody made a really, really cool point here that I heard, and I wish I'd noted the name. But one of these narratives that keep on going on is that in Canada, we've been conditioned already to know that what we are going to do here and what we are trying to do here is going to come with some pain. And we seem to be quite okay with it based on the way that we've been participating in the boycott, and it's still holding the boycott, I should say, probably. And we're not going, and we're not buying like this. And it's getting so bad that, Americans are coming here and says like, don't punish us, so, I mean, they're feeling it. Right. And we're not letting up. And like this, like, geez, can't you guys have it? Why aren't you guys over it by now? Because you guys aren't over it by now. It's like, why should we go first?
We shouldn't be smug though as a country because you got to look at our what our debt to GDP ratio is here, and you can see it. So we're in the top 10. Yay!
Yeah, but it's nothing like the U.S.
Oh no, our debt isn't, but look at their debt, 37 trillion. Public debt to GDP 100%, external debt to GDP 91.67. You go down here to Canada in 10th place. Public debt is 118.53 and external debt is 157. Those aren't good numbers.
No.
They're not.
They're not good numbers.
Now, we did have a global pandemic.
Mhm.
But those aren't good numbers.
No. But the fact that we as Canadian citizens are so dug in on the boycott actually helps the Prime Minister.
Oh, yes.
Because, yes, it pisses off the Americans. And if it does, well, then, Trump gets more calls coming from inside the House. And Mark Carney can go, hey, it's not my fault. It's the shareholders of Canada, man.
Yeah, the shareholders. I checked with them, and they're like, yeah, they ain't having it.
The market has spoken, man. I can't make them do it. It's a grassroots thing. Yeah. And that continues to give Prime Minister an opening to say to Trump, because we're being very nasty. It's like, no, Donald, we're not being nasty. We're being really reasonable because, look, man, it's like my people are not going to let me go further. And I would love to do more, but my people are just not having it. So the more we dig in, the more we give our Prime Minister that cover. And I thought that was a really interesting take on it. Because the United States, as evidenced by Ambassador Fuckface, seems to believe that, oh, well, if Trump wants something and there's a law that says Parliament can't do it, I'm sure the Prime Minister can find a way to get around that. It's like, sorry, my hands are tied. The shareholders just won't let me.
Sorry, I checked and
I checked. It's like I would love to help you out, but I can't. You wouldn't commit political suicide for me, right? So I mean, I can't do that for you. I'm sorry. I mean, and it's like, look, Donald, we like each other, right? We got this good thing going on. I mean, it's like, do you really want me to be replaced? I mean, you never know who you might get. It's like, don't make me piss off my people, Donnie.
The owners and no, they ain't having it. You're on your own. You're on your own.
The next guy that comes in may not be as sweet as I am.
Yeah, at least I'm trying to negotiate in good faith. The next guy might not do that. Just say, yeah, we're not trading with you anymore.
It's like, if the people are so mad, who do you think they're going to send after me if you get rid of me? Hey, listen, when you're dealing with someone who only understands money and that hand up, the don't make me, or I'll backhand you.
Show them the same thing. Show them
Speak his language.
Yeah, speak his language. He wants to be a tough guy, which he isn't, but he wants to be a tough guy, so talk like a tough guy to him and he'll understand it. He's not a tough guy.
It's like, listen, Donnie, I'd love to, but the people.
I spoke to the shareholders. They said, forget about it. Forget about it.
It's not happening. Can't
do that. Forget about it. Forget about it. We're just going to move on. It's done. I talked to them. It's done. It's a done decision. There's nothing we could do. There's nothing we could do.
My hands are tied.
It's over. It's done. Nothing we could do. Forget about it. We got to move on.
Yep. So, I mean, it's just at some point, unfortunately, no matter how classy we are, we got to show that we are very comfortable in the gutter.
Well, that's the old line from Neil Young when he released the album Harvest. He said, this album put me in the middle of the road, which is a nice, smooth, comfortable ride, but kind of boring. So I headed for the ditch. It's rough and bumpy, but you meet some really interesting people there.
Yep. It's like Canada is like fashion, right? It's like we walk out, perfect for day wear. Then, a nice little extra thing. And, oh, we switched from day to evening. Look at us. But we can also take off the earrings and get down in the gutter.
And remove the lead press-ons, right?
Yes. It's like, okay, I guess. And listen,
you didn't.
We are comfortable there too.
Yeah. It's like you need to remember fighting is a part of our favorite sport. You get a 5-minute penalty for that.
You go to the box
So
and you
we're
feel
just going to
shame.
curdle you. We're going to pull the sweater over. We're going to sweater you and just
Yep.
lay it. Was it the Inglewood Jack? If you remember that, the Sam, the character of Julius from Pulp Fiction.
Mhm.
They had Luc Robitaille from the LA Kings said, my favorite coach when I was a young lad was Julius. He was pretty intense, and he's Sam. Oh, what's this shit? I'm blanking on his
Samuel Jackson?
Thank you, Samuel L. Jackson, playing the character of Julius as a hockey coach. Julius from Pulp Fiction as a hockey coach. Inglewood Jack, Inglewood Jack. You pull the sweater over his head and take your elbow and your knee and slam it into his skull.
Jeez. So yeah, you know what? Well, again, we might have to check him into the boards a couple of times. Like this. Maybe take a shot when the ref's not looking. Down you go. Oh, what? I was just standing here. He just like, ice is slippery. We had nothing to do with that.
What me?
But yeah, basically that's why I'm saying, listen, I could be completely out to lunch here. I admit it. Like I said, part of me is trying to. Part of this is analysis, yes, as much as I can, and part of it is, I have to admit, is looking for stuff that can make some type of sense in a world of utter and complete nonsense.
Well, we do live in a time of nonsense, unfortunately.
Yes. And, I know that our prime minister has been in the room when there's been big upheaval.
Oh, yes.
In the past, and has managed to steer. So I'm not sure if there's been anything like this, because in the rooms that he's been in, even when there was great upheaval, most of the other people in the room, if not all of them, have been at least rational actors. Now, by rational, I don't mean they make the decisions that we want to, but they make decisions in a frame that makes sense, right? China, even though they make decisions that we don't like at all, is rational. Based on their own philosophy and their ideology, the things that they do are consistent with it, and you can sort of think, okay, well, if we do this, these 2 or 3 things might happen. And every now and then China draws outside the lines and goes, okay, whoa, surprises us. But for the most part, they do the things within the range of things we would expect.
Yeah.
This guy is not a rational actor in any way, shape, or form. Right? So it presents an extra challenge. But again, hopefully, because we have a guy that understands how economics work and understand how trade pressures work, understands the value of concerted action, understands what the bond market can do, understands all of that, and knows that, sometimes, okay, you know what, if you're going to be this way, then you know what, let's just wait 3 months and see what that does to your economic numbers, and let's see if you come back to the table. That might be the strategy at this point. And yes, that means that in those 3 months while we're waiting and it doesn't seem that anything's going on and we're making things that appear to be like a concession here or a concession there, either to buy time or to do anything, and Trump is taking up all the oxygen. Oh, it looks like elbows down, looks like elbows down. But if, meanwhile, in the background, things are changing on the ground that puts the squeeze to the guy who's trying to put the squeeze on us, and all we have to do is buy enough time to let that happen, then you know what? Maybe it's worth taking the couple of hits that are going to come from the political right that's predisposed to interpret everything that you're doing as being some type of failure.
Well, this statement here from PNC Bio is very apt. The only thing you can do with an irrational actor is operate around them. Given that we have a deeper relationship that had an irrational actor added to the mix, I don't see any other path forward. I would agree with you. We got to stick handle around him. He's a pylon, and just go around that pylon and then fire a couple of goals into the net.
Yeah. All right, moving on from shitgibbon to another shitgibbon. From shitgibbon to shitgibbon. Maybe I should have titled this. That should have been the title of the show.
I can check and post. Shitgibbon to shitgibbon. That might get it. That might harm the.
That might harm the algorithm. Pierre Poilièvre. Okay.
Where do we begin? There's a lot of stuff here.
Oh my God. Okay. Number one, he's back to talking about immigration caps again.
Okay, give me a sec. Let me get a coffee because I'm going to need one to settle in for this. So
Okay.
get rolling. I'll be right back. I promise I won't be more than 55 seconds.
Okay. Guy is going back. He's going back to his safety blankets as well. Right? Things are not going well for him, and you can tell. Right? One, immigration caps. He's mentioned it a couple of times, keeps on talking about it. I think this is like the third or fourth press conference he's had about it now, where he's mentioned it or said something. We need hard immigration caps, and we need them for a good long while. We have to have more people leaving Canada than we have people coming in, and we need to do this. This has to be the case for a while. Right? We already have the immigration caps. We've already reported on the effects on housing prices and rent pricings. They are starting to adjust more favorably as a result of them. He's calling for more. Again, he's running for election in Battle River Crowfoot in Alberta, where there's a separatist thing going on. Talking about immigration caps is red meat for the base. The policy of immigration caps and the way that he's talking about them is completely untethered to the manner in which the economy works. Right? You adjust your immigration up or down depending on needs of the economy. If all of a sudden we started generating a lot of economic activity and we need more bodies, if you got a hard immigration cap just because ideologically you need it or because it makes certain people in a base happy, but for no other reason, that's dumb policy. But he needs to win an election. So he's talking about immigration caps again, running to a rhetorical safety blanket. Yes, nothing new, nothing creative, no policy that really has anything to do with helping us reorient ourselves to diversify or whatnot. Immigration caps. If we're going to diversify, yes, we might be needing to put a whole lot more people in newer industries. I guess, who knows? Maybe our auto industry will go under. Maybe all our auto plants will start making, defense products.
Well,
and we might need different skill sets for that. We might have to bring in different types of people. We'll have to retrain so that, but we might different. So it's like you can't just say we need a hard immigration cap. We need more people leaving. Like this is not a policy that's tethered to the economic reality of the moment.
You do realize without immigration, this country would come to a screeching halt and very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not there. Then then he's gone back again, as we mentioned yesterday, to the conflict of interests and the money stuff with Carney. Right? But he's back at it again, right? Like this, he's got to sell everything. He's got to do all this. He's got to do, right? Because, and I remember, I think it was Gary Mason again from the Globe and Mail or something like this. No, it was Bruce Anderson. I remember a time when conservatives liked it when people made money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, again, Pierre, if you are absolutely serious about this, if you really mean this, lead by example. You have been the leader of your party for 3 years now. You have not divested anything. Well, only the prime minister. Yeah, okay. Those are the rules as they are written now. As far as I'm concerned, those are incomplete. Every party leader should be doing that because every party leader has a chance to be prime minister one day. And if you have a chance to be prime minister one day, there is no reason to believe that you are not negotiating things that you will give to people once you become prime minister, if you do, and that those things could have some conflicts with stuff that you already own. So if you're talking about people having to absolutely sell everything, you've been there for 20 years, you've been leader for 3. I guess, yes, you've complied with the conflict of interest rules. You've done your disclosures as an MP, but you have not been forced, because you're in the opposition, to divest or blind trust or anything.
Mm-hmm.
and you so desperately want to become prime minister, we've seen how much of yourself that you're willing to sell off in order to do that, that it is not unfathomable that you too could be making some arrangements that have you in a conflict based on what you own right now, sir. So if you are serious about this being the standard, you first
Well, yeah,
divest of your assets, sir, and then sit for your SCI level security clearance.
he won't.
And if you do those things, then talk. But until then, Boo Boo Kitty, shh, because we don't want to hear it. If you are not prepared to do yourself what you are demanding of others, then you need to be quiet, because all you're doing is moving air and you're not saying anything that's advancing anything in any way that's beneficial for anyone. You're just sucking up time and oxygen. Someone else needs the bandwidth. We're in a trade war. We need to hear from people who are going to propose stuff that's constructive. So if you're not willing to do it yourself, sit and zip it, because nobody's got time for it. But again, it's a rhetorical safety blanket. He's a rich guy, so therefore, and he's a liberal, so therefore he must be corrupt. Okay. On that, just to give a little point, you know Dougald Lamont?
Mm-hmm.
He used to be the leader of the Alberta Liberals. And we had that clip of him. Remember when he was announced he was stepping down? The journalist asked him, "So are you stepping down?" He said, "Yeah, I just announced that."
I just did. So what are your future plans with the party? I just announced that I was stepping down. How did you miss that?
This is from April 10th in his Substack. Canada's National Post is reporting that Canada's Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilièvre is returning to well-trodden path of promising draconian punitive measures for certain types of violent crime. I say certain types because quite notably crimes like sexual assault or assaulting your partner are never considered to be, quote, violent crimes. Quote, under the proposed three strikes law, anyone convicted of three serious offenses would be sentenced to a minimum of 10 years incarceration with no chance at bail, probation, parole, or house arrest. Poilièvre has already said that if he becomes prime minister, he'll bring back life sentences for aggravated human gun and fentanyl trafficking. It's notable, but not at all surprising, that Poilièvre would point to a horrifying incident in Saskatchewan where a First Nations man with a string of previous convictions killed 11 people on a horrific spree. I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, which has often been the murder capital of Canada. I've met many, many victims of crime face to face, including many people whose family and loved ones were murdered, as well as women who have been assaulted and essayed who could get no justice. Mm-hmm. Just witnessing their suffering is painful, and I can't imagine the further levels of anguish they have gone through. The people who suffered these losses, as well as ongoing injustices, are mostly Indigenous. Some of them are miseries and tragedies are related to the policies of the last Harper Conservative government, in which Pierre Poilièvre was a cabinet minister. That government cancelled the Kelowna Accord, which was going to increase funding to First Nations with funds dedicated to clean water and better care for children, and froze funding instead, even as the population grew. They brought in new draconian legislation that led to more Indigenous children being thrown in jail while cancelling education and training programs in prisons that successfully reduced the chance of people reoffending. At the same time, I have seen complete indifference to crimes committed by powerful conservatives. For that reason, I find Poilièvre's announcement completely insincere and exploitive and frankly disgusting. These are profoundly unjust policies that, if they came to pass, would make current injustices worse. Jails in Manitoba and Saskatchewan are overcrowded with First Nations and Indigenous prisoners. Manitoba has twice the national incarceration rate, and the vast majority of prisoners are Indigenous. There are no provincial halfway houses, which means that inmates are discharged straight to the street and immediately get arrested again. At the same time, Manitoba is a province where a billionaire, Peter Nygaard, was never charged criminally for decades, despite dozens of allegations that he was essaying women in Manitoba. In 2019, Nygaard was arrested and faced extradition to the U.S. in a class action suit involving over 50 women, several of them having occurred in Manitoba. The complaints span decades and are shocking, to say the least. On the eve of his extradition, police in Toronto and in Montreal charged him with multiple criminal charges for offenses against women and girls. In Manitoba, 20 women came forward, and the Winnipeg Police Service recommended that 8 charges be laid, but Manitoba Justice declined all of them. In November 2022, I was a member of the Manitoba Legislative Assembly, and I was approached by a representative of over 40 women who had complaints against Nygaard. One of Nygaard's lawyers was facing professional sanctions of professional misconduct for publicly trashing the reputations of Nygaard's Manitoba accusers, essentially calling them paid actors and gold diggers. I asked the then progressive Conservative government whether they would have an independent third party review the charges. Together with my colleague Cindy Lamoureux, we got the government to agree to hand over the investigation to a Crown prosecutor from Saskatchewan, who eventually found that one of the charges should proceed to trial. There's never been any explanation for why Manitoba justice did not lay charges. Nygaard was eventually convicted and sentenced in Toronto and is still awaiting a trial in Winnipeg. Montreal and the U.S. comparisons have been made of Nygaard to Jeffrey Epstein, except that crimes Nygaard is accused of are much worse and more extensive. A search through about 30 years of the Manitoba legislature's Hansards showed that I apparently was the first and only party leader or MLA to ever ask a question about why Nygaard wasn't charged. The second was my colleague and current interim leader, Cindy Lamoureux. Nygaard has already been convicted of multiple crimes and faces many more charges, but there's no explanation whatsoever of how he was able to escape being charged for decades. The one charge he is now facing in Manitoba dates back to the 1990s. I raised the issue of Nygaard because the crimes he committed against women are almost never included in the list of, quote, violent crimes that conservatives tend to talk about. They talk about drugs, violence, and human trafficking, but not SA. Nygaard used a wide range of tactics to silence people. He used non-disclosure agreements to ensure that employees could not speak about anything they had witnessed. In the 1990s, the publisher of the Winnipeg Free Press, Manitoba's paper of record, spiked a story where one of Nygaard's employees reported she had been raped by him. The publisher of the other newspaper, the Winnipeg Sun, went to work for Nygaard in the Bahamas. When the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation ran investigative pieces on Nygaard, he filed a private prosecution against them for something called, quote, criminal libel, which still exists in Canada, where reporters faced jail time for their reporting. Private prosecutions have to be signed off on by the government as being in the public interest, which is one of the reasons the judge allowed the case to go forward. The criminal libel case was hanging over the heads of the journalists and only fell apart when the U.S. charges against Nygaard demanded his extradition from Canada. I've written at length about conservatives turning a blind eye to the lawlessness of the Freedom Convoy, which was a mid-pandemic protest that blocked highways and border crossings, blockaded legislatures, and had leaders like Pat King who regularly made veiled threats of violence towards elected officials, and the demands of organizers in Ottawa included that democratically elected government be toppled and that they be appointed to run it instead.
And
here's King.
Real.
Yeah. And then he put something about King talking about liberals catching a bullet, for example. The reporting was that the Conservatives hitched their wagons to the convoy protest without knowing where it's going. The Conservatives always stuck to the messaging that the protests were, quote, peaceful, without acknowledging that there were many ways in which it was blatantly illegal. It is a crime in the Federal Criminal Code to block a highway. It's an offense to disobey a court order. Jamming 911 phone lines with phony calls may be peaceful, but it can absolutely result in someone's death. In fact, conservatives were involved in organizing the convoy, which had some of the same organizers as a 2019 United We Roll convoy, rebranded from Yellow Vests, where conservative Senator David Tkachuk encouraged truckers to, quote, roll over every liberal in the country. Former Conservative leader Andrew Scheer met with Freedom Convoy in Saskatchewan as they rolled through, and former Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall was texting advice to them even after they had occupied Ottawa. This was fueled by fraudulent claims about the law promoted by the Alberta-based lawfare outfit, the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms, whose legal arguments have consistently been found in court to be groundless. Two lawyers who run the JCCF had to stop practicing law after they hired a private investigator to tail the Manitoba judge hearing their case, as well as the Premier of Manitoba. In Alberta, the Coutts border blockade, who had a body armor and weapons where evidence showed they were willing to shoot police officers. They were charged and convicted. One federal court judge did find that some protesters' charter rights were violated when the federal government suspended access to their bank accounts as part of the Declaration of the Emergencies Act, though he agreed that had he been in charge, he probably would have declared it too.
Exactly.
However, this sidesteps the rather serious issue of the fact that the Freedom Convoy participants were quite literally a paid protest funded by foreign donors. From Politico. Analysis from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue found multiple U.S. right-wing groups, including those associated with the Tea Party movement and others opposing U.S. vaccine mandates, had donated to the now-defunct GoFundMe page, as well as similar groups from Europe and Australia. That international backing, in part, was driven by several U.S.-focused white supremacist channels on Telegram, which had repeatedly shared a link to the GoFundMe page, On 4chan, an online message board favored by extremist groups, the same link had been posted at least 25 times between January 28th and February 5th, based on research from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. If there was an overlap between Trump donors and the Freedom Convoy, there was an overlap between Trump donors and the Freedom Convoy. Out of 200 of the top American donors to the convoy protest that paralyzed downtown Ottawa and blocked parts of the Canada-US border, half have names matching those of donors to Republican candidates, the Republican Party, or former U.S. President Donald Trump, according to an analysis by CBC. Mike Roman, who worked in the Trump White House and who was charged in multiple states with playing a key role in Trump's 2020 election fraud, was an advisor to the Conservatives and was in Ottawa at the time of the convoy. Tom Quiggin, yet another tiresome and paranoid troll, tweeted this, that one of the donors was none other than the incredible shrinking billionaire Elon Musk. Musk has somehow managed to give white South Africans an even worse name. To any Americans, please consider what would happen if Canada helped organize and fund January 6th. If this happened anywhere else, it would be recognized as a failed coup supported by foreign agitators, many of them living in the US and quite a few with direct ties to Donald Trump like Elon Musk. While the Conservatives have routinely attacked other parties for corruption, Stephen Harper had a fraudster with multiple convictions working for him as a senior advisor in the Prime Minister's office. Wikipedia pithily calls Bruce Carson a Canadian fraudster. As a lawyer, he had been convicted of multiple frauds and even spent time in jail before being hired by Harper. However, Carson's is also one of the shocking reasons why the issue of clean water in First Nations communities was further delayed for years. The Harper Conservatives had brought in a law banning former staffers from lobbying for 5 years. Not only was Carson lobbying, but as APTN Investigates discovered, he was trying to get a $400 million contract for water filtration systems for a company that was owned by his partner, who was a former Ottawa area escort.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
No,
but the 7-year-old man dating a 24-year-old.
That's kind of greasy.
Yeah. There is this Canadian TikTok user named Johnny, spelled Jaw-Nee, but it's pronounced Johnny, who compiled a list of Canadian politicians who have been charged and convicted of crimes. While this image is hard to... There's an image here. I think, this is an image here. I'm going to put it up. Actually, no, not just yet.
Okay.
I'll come after because it brings me too far away in the story, but I will show it. The image that I will show when I show it up might be hard to read. The one thing that stands out is the color that is associated with party affiliation. Bearing in mind the offenses date back more than a century, they also include people who were charged and convicted after being elected. That includes Louis Riel, the founder of the province of Manitoba and father of the Canadian Confederation, whose trial by the Canadian government on highly questionable grounds, not least because the alleged offenses occurred in territory that was not under Canada's jurisdiction. The chart at the top of this article shows 50% of the convicted politicians are conservative. And what's more, that Saskatchewan Conservatives are massively overrepresented. While there are often accusations of corruption in Quebec, it has to be said that it is also the province where the political dynamic has actually resulted in inquiries into corruption and convictions, if you remember the Charbonneau Commission, for example. Anglos in Canada generally love to complain about corruption in Quebec. There's no denying there has been because we know it for a fact, but it's also the case that Quebec has actually far stricter standards for corruption than many other provinces, especially when it comes to campaign finance corruption. For example, Quebec, there have been a couple of scandals and inquiries where people ended up going to jail where there were illegal corporate donations to political parties. The Charbonneau inquiry discovered that an engineering firm was giving fake bonuses to employees who then used the funds to make personal donations to a particular political party or politician. The donations from one firm in 1 year was $110,000. By contrast, in Alberta and Saskatchewan, election financing laws can be extremely loose. Even after the Alberta NDP tightened up election finance laws, individual donations were $15,000 and corporations and unions could both second people to work on campaigns. Saskatchewan allows for out-of-province corporate donations, and as a consequence, the Saskatchewan Party has received millions of dollars in donations from the oil industry in Alberta. Quelle surprise. CBC reported in 2016 that Alberta-based companies have donated more than $2 million to the Saskatchewan Party over the past decade. In Alberta, during the spring election of 2012, the PC party led by Alison Redford was struggling at the polls, but a last-minute surge in fundraising helped them spend their way to victory, as the Globe and Mail reported. Billionaire entrepreneur and Edmonton Oilers owner Daryl Katz gave Alberta's progressive conservatives nearly $500,000, almost one-third of the party's total fundraising, in a single donation. as Premier Alison Redford's cash-strapped campaign was staring down defeat at the ballot box in the spring election. Documents made public by Elections Alberta on Wednesday, this is a while ago now, record $300,000 in donations from Mr. Katz, his company, his family, and business associates. But a source close to the campaign told the Globe and Mail that Mr. Katz provided a check for $430,000 to the PCs, a donation that was broken up into smaller pieces. The maximum allowable donation to a political party in Alberta from an individual or person or company during an election campaign is $30,000. Elections Alberta said splitting donations is allowed in some circumstances. However, Elections Alberta cleared Katz and said there was nothing wrong with the donation. Danielle Smith and her UCP government are currently in the midst of a corruption scandal involving major private healthcare contracts going to a donor. Then there's the whole Brian Mulroney thing with Karl-Heinz Schreiber that he goes into. And then he continues, notably, it's not just conservative politicians, it's also such figures as convicted and pardoned criminal Conrad Black, who, despite being named an associate of Jeffrey Epstein, continues to hector people for their moral failings. Two Postmedia board members, David J. Pecker and Daniel Rothstein, actually handled the hush money arrangements that led to Donald Trump's 34 felony convictions. In all of this, I will say that, of course, there are honest, hardworking law and order conservatives, but there always have been. But the movement is now largely being driven by people whose chief strategic inspiration is Roy Cohn and advised Joseph McCarthy, then became a mob lawyer and mentor to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
His career consisted in accusing others of crimes they didn't commit while making a living working for actual criminals. This is all monumentally destructive and corrosive to the single most important requirement for freedom and a free society, which is the rule of law. It's also monumentally corrupting because it requires people to continually defend the indefensible. More than anything, Canada and the world need effective and fair enforcement of the law against corruption and criminality, and the Conservatives have put themselves on the wrong side. Now, kids and cubs, the graphic that I want to show you that topped the article, and take a look here. This is every politician that's been convicted and charged. So convictions and charges of Canadian politicians by political affiliation.
So let's see, we got Green 3%, NDP 11%, Labcom, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what Labcom is.
1%, Independent 9%, Liberal 15%, PQ 3%, BQ 1%, Conservative 57%.
They love to point the finger at liberal corruption.
Corruption, thy name is Reform Party, masquerading as conservative.
This is all data.
Yeah. Come on.
Right.
Those numbers ain't lying, my friends.
So, again, if you care so much about the crime, if you care so much about the corruption, clean up your own house.
Yeah.
Lead by example. So, this well-worn policy or strategy or tactic of the Conservatives to point to other people, they're corrupt. They're not being transparent. While they themselves are doing it more than anybody else, and not only more than anybody else, but more than half the time.
Oh yeah.
More than everybody else combined.
It's like, wow.
But look at the other guy.
Yeah.
Look at the other guy.
Don't. It's only wrong when they do it, not when I do it.
And here's where things might not be going so well for Pierre, because according to a latest Ecos poll that came out not too long ago, they were asking about what are the top concerns of Canadians, right? Because they always ask which party do you want to support and all that kind of stuff. But then they ask you, like, what are your issues of top concern? I got a graphic, but I'm not going to show it because it's too small and you just wouldn't be able to see it. But the number one concern is tariffs, Trump, and U.S. aggression. Then inflation and rising prices. Now, when you're looking at the graph, tariffs and Trump U.S. aggression, right? That's 20% of Canadians that are concerned about that. That's the number one issue. It's the number one issue for 30. It's a big issue for 31% of liberals, 26% of NDP, 32% of Bloc, but only 10% of conservatives and 7% of the of Green Party voters. Conservatives don't seem to be concerned whatsoever about whatever Trump is doing in the U.S. aggression. They're fine with it.
Of course they are, because they want to be part of that country.
We get to immigration. It's at 6%. 3% of liberals, 3% of NDP, 6% of the Bloc Québécois, 4% of Greens, but 12% of conservatives. Really concerned about immigration. So that's why Pierre keeps on going there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else in Canada cares about it that much.
He's looking at the numbers, so he's going to concentrate and focus on it.
Government debt. Yeah. Government debt and deficit. 1% of liberals, 0% of NDP, 0% of Greens, 7% of Bloc, 9% of conservatives. All the spending's going to send us into debt. Again, for domestic consumption, but not helpful to the country. Climate change, extreme weather. This is one that really shocked me. It's only at 4% on the list. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The number 8 issue. 4% of liberals are concerned. 1% of conservatives are concerned. 6% of Bloc are concerned, which is an amazingly low number considering what a big deal Yves-François Blanchet personally is making of it.
Mm-hmm.
But 17% of NDP and 23% of Greens. But 1% of conservatives and 4% of liberals. So again, people who are more on the left, who really care about the environment issue, but are not hearing liberals talk about it, right? The liberals are not talking about it because the liberal voters don't want to talk about it either. And it seems that right now, for anything climate, like this, the best strategy seems to be is to just do it and then ask for forgiveness later, rather than talking about it, because there is no political points to be won at all.
Well, I've got a solution to solve the debt. There is an asteroid that is floating through our solar system. In a few years, it will get close enough that we could capture it. It has 470 quadrillion tons of gold on it. You just capture that, and then that would make every living human being a multi-billionaire. What happens is, with that amount of gold on the market, gold has no value anymore, and money becomes completely worthless. Let's just get rid of money altogether, and then we can work together in peace and harmony. Yeah, I know that sounds like a socialist dream, or communist dream, I guess, because socialists believe in owning the means of production and distributing those means out to everybody, like the NFL.
Yep. High taxes. 2% of liberals, 0% of NDP, 2% of Bloc, 2% of Greens, but 7% of conservatives.
Of course.
Now, things like poverty and homelessness, right? We've got a big issue.
Oh, yes.
Right?
And it's not shrinking. It's getting bigger every day.
For both of them, 2% of liberals. Poverty and homelessness, 2% for poverty and 1% for homelessness for the conservatives. So there's not much difference between what liberals and conservatives actually talk. But Pierre keeps on going in front of these camps and say, oh my God, it's terrible. But his party's voters don't care. And even with the other parties, NDP, 5% for poverty, 4% for homelessness. The Bloc Québécois, 5% for poverty, 1% for homelessness. And the Greens, the most social justice warriors of all the parties, only 8% for poverty and 9% for homelessness. It hardly rates with anyone. Then we get to the ones that Pierre loves: crime, public safety, gun violence, opiate and drug crisis. And Pierre is wasting his time because they both rank at 2% for all Canadians, and they rank 2% or lower for everybody across all parties except the Bloc Québécois, which has 3% that's concerned with crime, public safety. Canadians are not particularly concerned with it.
We have record low crime rates. We do have record high homelessness, and we do have record high overdoses due to fentanyl. I have friends that I know in the neighborhood who work for outreach programs, and they're dealing with on average 15 overdoses a day. And it's all fentanyl.
But you have Pierre here that's trying to convince us that we live in some kind of lawless state, right? Bail, not bail. What are we going to do? Like, conservative voters are less concerned about crime, public safety, gun violence, opioid and drug crisis than actual liberal voters.
Well, they'll try and have you convinced that the folks using fentanyl are suddenly going to become crazy monsters a la reefer madness. Except here's the thing. I've seen these folks in my neighborhood, and after they use a crack pipe to smoke their product, it's the zombie drug.
Right.
Because wherever they are, they just slump right over. They might slump forward or sideways. They become a gelatinous goop.
Yep.
Literally, you needn't worry about somebody using fentanyl who's about to break into your home because they can't move.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
It's after when they're looking for the next fix, though.
Yeah, but they're so messed up, they don't have the ability to do much.
Yeah.
Because I see these folks. There's a few of them that are pretty severely addicted in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they reach out to them all the time, and they help them all the time. But I mean, they literally they can't function very high as a human being, even if they are desperate for the drug. You're not going to be overpowered by any of these folks, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then the final one on the list: war in Ukraine, Gaza, elsewhere. With the amount of protests that we have, you think it would be a top issue? It's an issue for 1%.
Wow.
0% of liberals, 1% of conservatives, 1% of NDP. 1% of NDP.
That's kind of surprising, actually.
Considering who shows up at the protests,
Yeah.
0% of Bloc Québécois and 5% of Greens. So right now there's an NDP leadership race going on, and there's going to be a lot of leadership candidates that are going to be talking about Gaza, 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 Gaza. And even though what is going on in Gaza is absolutely horrendous, Canadian voters are not particularly keen on a party that's going to take that issue and put it above any issue that is here.
No.
There's no appetite for it. It gets great clicks on social media. It drives the people that are super passionate. But when you transpose it into regular world, nobody's there. Nobody's there for those issues. And a lot of the things that Pierre is talking about, the safety blankets that he's running to, the things he can't pivot away from, are things that either only matter to his base, like inflation, well, not inflation, but immigration, government debt and deficit, the concern about higher taxes, or things that he thinks he's making the liberals look bad on, but nobody cares about really. Like crime, public safety, gun violence, opioid, drug deaths, and what's going on in Ukraine or Gaza, which is a sad statement on our society.
It is.
An extremely one. But
I think people are just worn out from it, to be honest with you.
Could be. But strictly strategically, politically speaking, any time that he's talking about those things is time he's not connecting with anyone. But that's all he can talk about. And it's showing up in the public polling.
Yeah, he's at a record low right now, if memory serves.
Yeah. And the trend here is not his friend, because this is 338.com. And again, it's just a slow and steady decline. But at the election, the spread was 3%. And now we're at 7%. Seat projection, 143 after the election. If an election was held today, 121. For the Conservatives, Liberals would be at 193, a very clear majority. He's not going anywhere. And then best of all, Bonnie Critchley, who we like,
who we love,
has appeared in the National Post, Real Talk with Ryan Jesperson, and yesterday, finally, CBC Power and Politics.
And we have it for you.
And she knocked it out of the park.
Of course she would. Let's share this right now.
Bonnie Critchley is running as an independent candidate in the upcoming by-election in Battle River Crowfoot, and she joins me now. Bonnie Critchley, it's good to meet you. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Good morning. Well, at least it's morning here right now. So, hi, how you doing today?
I'm very good. How are you doing? Tell us why you've decided to run in this by-election and run against the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilièvre, in the seat.
It really boils down to my slogan, which isn't a slogan. It's simply the truth. This is our home. This is our riding. We just had an election, and we spent all that money, and we elected the candidate of our choice, who promptly turned around and said, no, I don't want that mandate I asked you for. And we're spending another $2 million to vote in the angry guy from Ottawa, who doesn't know jack about this area. He may have been born in Calgary, but he's from Ottawa. He hasn't been here. He hasn't lived here. And even if he had stayed in Calgary, this is a very different area than the urban centers he's used to.
So you're mad. You don't like what Damien Carrick has done. You don't like what Pierre Poilièvre has done, even though there is a long tradition in Canadian politics of backbenchers giving up their seat for the leader. You don't like this one bit.
Well, yeah, I would agree. Normally, yes. But this unseated leader it's not that he didn't have a seat. It's that he didn't bother to show up for his constituents. So they fired him. And now he just assumes we're going to vote him in when he lived in the same town as his constituents. We're 3,000 kilometers west. You think he's going to show up here ever?
So you don't buy it that he's running to represent this riding, to be the voice of Battle River Crowfoot in Parliament. You think this is just a path back to the House of Commons so we can get back into question period and those things?
Absolutely. We are being used, and myself and my neighbors are upset about this.
How upset do you think they are, Bonnie Critchley? Because, this is a seat that reliably votes Conservatives, which is, inarguably the reason it was picked. I think Damien Carrick is willing to step aside, and this seems, at least on paper, very little chance of losing. 82% voted for Mr. Carrick in the election on April 28th. How upset do you think they are? Is it enough to just reduce that number, or is this maybe in play?
It's going to be either or. Either way, he is not going to survive his leadership review in January. If he beats me, it's not going to be by much. I can tell you he's going to get 50, maybe 60 max if he beats me.
You think it's that close? What gives you that level of confidence? Do you have polling data? Do you have organization, fundraising? Tell me what makes you so confident of that.
Just literally, I'm going door to door and talking to my neighbors. And there are people who voted for Damien, and they like Damien, and then he sold us out. And especially rural Albertans tend to be an independent lot. And we don't like being used. We don't like our answers being assumed. And that's what's going on right now. And yes, on paper, this is a very conservative area, which is why I'm running a right of center, but centrist campaign. And I am a palatable alternative to the Conservative Party, who has sold them out.
Why did you decide to run as an independent? The other major national parties, at least the New Democrats and the Liberals, are running candidates there. I know it's tough for people to run and vote Liberal in Alberta historically, but the New Democrats have seats there. They form government there in the recent past. And Mark Carney seems to be a more palatable Liberal, I think, for a lot of people in Alberta. Why not look at those options? Why run independent instead?
Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Mark Carney is a progressive conservative in a Liberal suit. But the reason I ran independent is two reasons. The first being that obviously I can't run for the CPC. Mm-hmm. The second being that this is Canadian politics. And the leak over from our south border of this two-party system is damaging to the Canadian polyscape. And this is also somebody can be both or one or the other, but doesn't have to stay within the team politics, because team politics is very damaging. We have to hold our own team accountable. We have to hold our own representatives accountable. And you can't just own the libs or own the cons while your representative is literally voting against your best interests. But it beats the other team. This is not the Stanley Cup. This is politics. This is people's lives.
You don't like the polarization. You don't like sort of the tribalism that's emerging in politics over the last number of years.
No, and that's, like I said, that's a leak over from our south border. That is not Canadian politics. We are a multi-party system for a reason. And this multi-party system is what holds our two big parties in check.
So
then, of course...
Oh, go ahead,
sorry,
finish it. No, go ahead, finish your
reason.
thought. Yep, go ahead.
There is a third reason, and it's because in this current minority government, an independent would hold just an immense amount of influence, being a swing vote, when the current formal government, when the current formal government is short 3 seats.
Yes, there's no question. Every vote counts in a minority parliament. We've just lived through that for a couple of elections and a number of years. But I want to go back to something you said, Ms. Critchley, that whatever the result is on election night, you think Mr. Poilièvre will not survive his leadership review as a result of the outcome. Is that kind of the end goal here, to damage him to the point that his leadership is untenable? Is that what you're hoping to accomplish by running in this?
What I'm really hoping to accomplish is keeping a voice for Battle River Crowfoot, for Battle River Crowfoot in Battle River Crowfoot, so that we have a voice in Parliament. He is not going to be a voice in Parliament for us. And if he loses that leadership review, the other problem we're going to have, is he going to stay as a backbencher in middle of nowhere when he's got that pension, or are we going to be doing this again in January?
Do you think he'd seek re-election in Battle River Crowfoot, or is this just for, should he win this on the 18th of August, or do you think this is just a means to an end, and come next election, Pierre Poilièvre will be running somewhere else?
Well, Damien and Monsieur Poilièvre have told us as much, that Damien will run again in the next... Now, I don't know how that's going to work with his lovely new job, but we'll see how that goes. But no, I do not expect Monsieur Poilièvre to try and stay in a backwater rural Alberta riding.
Just one last question. I mean, it's a very different riding than the one he represented here in the Ottawa area in Carleton, which is a much more dense, a lot of civil servants, rapidly growing sort of part of the National Capital Region. In an interview with my colleague Catherine Cullen, Pierre Poilièvre suggested that he lost that seat because of his publicly stated intentions to cut the civil service, and that he was honest and upfront with what his plans were. What do you make of that reasoning as the reason why he lost the seat here in the Ottawa area and is now running in your neck of the woods?
Well, he seems to have a fascination with straws, because now he's grasping at straws. I have had so many lifelong Conservative voters from the Carleton region reach out to my campaign and say he was voted out because he did not represent them. They gave him multiple opportunities, and he was too busy gunning for the Prime Minister's job, as evidenced by him being in BC last week. Like I said, he's got a fascination with straws because he's grasping right now.
Okay. Final point. What does a successful election night look like for you, Bonnie Critchley?
Ultimately, it's me being elected and Battle River Crowfoot having a voice in Parliament, because it's not going to happen if Monsieur Poilièvre gets in.
Well, Bonnie Critchley, it was good to meet you. Thank you for the time today, and we'll check back in once we get those final results in mid-August. Thanks for joining us today.
Fantastic. Thank you for the time. Have a good day.
You know how much we love Bonnie Critchley here on this show.
Yep. Thoughts?
Well, look, here, I'm going to say straight up. Okay. When we had her on, I was fanboying. And I continue to do so. And here's why. I told you I've met lots of celebrities, musicians, actors, politicians, kings, queens. And that's all cool. But I fanboy when I meet Olympic athletes and individuals like Bonnie, who have both served in the military and is now stepping up to serve the country in a vastly different manner. And she's really putting herself out there as an independent individual who lives in the riding, who is fighting for the constituency. Literally, she is she's putting it all out there, and she knows what she's getting into. We talked about that with her. She knows exactly what she's getting into, and she's like, I don't want to be doing this, but I'm left with no other choice. I'm left with no other choice because we have been abandoned. And as she said at the end of that interview, if Mr. Poilièvre gets in, we will have no representation.
Right.
And she's dead to rights on that one.
Yep.
He doesn't give a shit. He just wants power. He will not govern. And as for the people Battle River Crowfoot, he's like, thanks for getting me elected, eh? He won't give a shit.
Yep.
This is why I keep pushing the interview. I keep telling people, you need to learn who Bonnie is. Please spread the message. Get the message out there, because Bonnie is a legitimate candidate who has a legitimate shot at beating him.
Yep. And this interview proves it, because it's literally 1 month and 2 days after we recorded ours with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we might have been her first national interview.
Could be.
It took 1 month and 2 days for her to go from True North Eager Beaver
to the CBC.
To CBC Power and Politics. We haven't even gotten to CBC Power and Politics yet. We've been at this we're in our 5th season. Yes. You don't get an interview with David Cochrane on CBC's Power and Politics if you're nobody.
No.
And if you're not having an impact, and if you're not making some noise. So you hear this, you see this on the web again. Independents have no chance. Independents have no chance. I don't think that you are particularly seizing the particularities of this composition of the House and this particular race and this man. And you have to admire Bonnie here, because her message discipline was superb in this interview.
Yep.
Our home, our writing. What do you want? What's, is hobbling Pierre your goal? What I want is a voice from Battle River Crowfoot that comes from Battle River Crowfoot. What I want is a voice from Battle River Crowfoot that actually will go to the House of Commons and speak for us there, not come and take the seat and say, okay, now back to my regular schedule running for Prime Minister. And I would like to have a voice from Battle River Crowfoot who hopefully will still be a voice for Battle River Crowfoot past January, so we don't have to do this again.
Well, and this nails it. And remember, Bonnie has no designs on ever becoming Prime Minister. She doesn't. That's why she's an independent candidate. As an independent, she is a voice, and it can be, like she said, the swing vote, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Don't knock independents out. Independents are going to become more and more popular as time marches on, simply due to the fact that they will have power to represent their riding. If they don't have any designs on becoming Prime Minister or the head of a party or moving up the ladder, they just want to work, do an honest day's work as someone who can represent their riding in Ottawa. And I think we'll start to see more independent candidates in the future.
Yeah.
And Bonnie, I really hope she wins. We've seen independents win before. John Nunziata.
Well, it's exactly what I'm going to say, but this is like, look at John Nunziata, completely different context.
Yes.
Right? Because John Nunziata won a seat as an independent 1 term, didn't win it again because people liked him, but then there was a majority level of government. What voice did he have? No questions, no what. In this particular case,
different story.
3 seats to a majority, 1 swing vote, someone who's a centrist and can be swayed if you get the right deal, versus in this particular situation, again, a leader without a seat, but not a leader without a seat because they've just been elected leader to their party and they're looking for a seat to accede to the legislature for the first time, but someone who had a seat and lost it because he was fired.
Yes.
Someone who just wants a seat because, well, I'm the leader of the party, I'm entitled to one. And then we'll go back and do the exact same thing that he was doing before, and we see it by the manner in which he's campaigning for a seat in Battle River Crowfoot from Vancouver, or the Calgary Stampede, or in the back of a Rolls Royce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or in a field 50 feet away from someone in front of a mic, right? But she is putting gas in the tank and going from corner to corner to corner of a 51,000 plus square kilometer riding and actually asking people for their vote. and we're going to do a little early because democracy is something that you do. It's a federal election, kids and cubs. So if you have not maximized your donation to a candidate,
You can.
which is $1,750 per year in the past federal election, and you have some contribution room from coast to coast to coast, if you like Bonnie, you are allowed to donate to her and get your tax receipt for that.
That is correct.
And in a riding with 51,000 square kilometers to cover, a little bit of gas money goes a long, long way. You want to do something for the country? Pop her a 20.
Yeah. Not only will she
100,000 people pop her a 20.
Not only will
Let
she
us use that
appreciate it,
million.
but so will the rest of Canada.
Right? She managed from going to, I'm announcing on Facebook that I'm going to run
Mhm.
from us to Jesperson to Power and Politics. She'll be on Laura Babcock's O Show. I think they're recording that on the 18th. And we're in talks to have her come back here,
Oh, awesome.
probably in the last week of July, around then,
Okay.
to give us an update on the ground. She did that on her own with a small dedicated team and almost no money.
I was going to say, you should fly out to see her and do a one-on-one sit
That
down.
would be fantastic.
I mean, I can't. I'm about to start a new job, so I don't have any time. I don't have any money, but
Military women get shit done.
oh yeah.
Do not underestimate them. Pierre's got problems.
Oh yeah, big time.
The polling's not going well. Bonnie is the real deal because she's getting the press. And he's resorted to going back to his rhetorical safety blankets. Crime, all liberals are corrupt, and immigration caps. He's got nothing. He's got nothing.
Did he ever have anything? No.
So again, while it looks like we're turning around in circles, just like with Trump, hearing him do the same old things and saying the same old things and the same old attacks, if we're microdosing hope, Bonnie Critchley got onto Power and Politics,
Mhm.
which means she's the thing. You got to hold on to what you got to hold on to.
Let's wrap up for today, sir.
Yes, we didn't have the time to show you the Nigel Wright clip.
We'll get to it tomorrow.
But we'll get to that tomorrow because there's some major hypocrisy here from Pierre Poilièvre on that. So yeah, showing a little leg, we'll have a juicy bit for you tomorrow.
You got to burn through this quick.
Yes. All right, kids and cubs. Thank you so much for watching us because we enjoyed making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We love it when you do, especially when you share our content with a little word of yours because you are influencers in your own circle. If you like what we do and you need to take us with you because you can't watch us, hey, we're portable. That QR code that just appeared will bring you to our pod page made available to you thanks to the generous contribution of the Ray Girl. Scan that QR code and it will bring you there. Or if you happen to be listening, podpage.com/thetruenortheagerbeaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you go there and click on subscribe, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. And if you are listening to us on podcast, if you have the time to give us some stars and reviews, kids and cubs, please do because it helps us with the algorithm. Now, if you would like to help us in other ways, maybe a trip on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page might be your thing. Kits Cassie and Kits Elaine are beckoning you to come, and we have 3 buttons for you to smash with. And if you're watching live, remember, if you smash now, you don't have to remember to do it later. Like, share, and subscribe. Give them a little flick. Give them a little lick. Give them a little kick. It makes us happy when you do, and that too helps us with the algorithm. If you would like to help us in yet other ways, that QR code that just appeared will bring you to our coffee page, and that's where you will find the Eager Beaver Lodge's Emergency Hydration Fund because a moist beaver is always a happy beaver. So if you would like to offer us an enthusiastic expression of encouragement, couple of loonies or toonies, hitting the bottom of that jar makes a lovely sound and gives us such warm fuzzies and lets us know that you care about the show. So if you would like to get us a little happy in yet another way, a lovely contribution would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Now, if you are buying Canadian, because, hey, that's still on, then you might want to bypass the CE Tech Bros. And you can do that with a direct transfer to us from your bank to ours, and we get 100% of your donation there via truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. That's our email address. And that's the email address at which you can also write us, because we love to hear from you. So let us know what you think about the show. If you got some guest suggestions, some topics, all of it, we want to hear it. That's where you write. And well, like I said, we read absolutely everything, even though we're not always able to answer. And if you want to communicate with us via our socials, because we read those too, at True Eager, at the Blue Sky Beaver Lodge, on the Jitter, True North Eager Beaver on Facebook, our original home. And if you happen to be listening on YouTube, either live with the best damn fam in all of podcasting, or on your own time, right down here in the comments section, just leave us a little something. We're always happy to hear from you. And remember, all of your comments and all of your donations go back into the show to make it better. And at Kits and Cubs, we speaking of the show, there are some changes coming, and we will have more to share with you when it happens. But we are definitely excited about these changes, and when we announce them, we know that you will be too. Not much is going to change necessarily in terms of the show and the presentation and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, whatever changes we're going to make are going to be seamless. But it's definitely going to set us up to hopefully grow the show and grow the DAMFAM, and to go some places. And we're really excited about that. But right now we can only show a little leg.
That's it. That's all you got for today.
That's all you get from today. Just a little bit of shoulder here. Let's see. I think that's all I have because democracy is something that you do. Again, Kits and Cubs, donate to Bonnie Critchley if you are able to. And if you're living in Alberta, remember mypcalberta.ca is where you can sign the petition to have the Progressive Conservative Party get enough signatures to register itself with Elections Alberta if you want more options for democracy in that province. And remember, even if you don't plan to vote PC, you still might want to have the option. So sign the petition. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom, sir?
Yeah, get out and support Bonnie and share. I put the link to Bonnie's interview in the chat. If you can share that with as many people as possible. We want to get Bonnie's word out there and help her as much as we can, because it's worthwhile and she will make a difference.
Indeed. All right, kids, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind and gentle with yourself. And, well, Mr. Grizzly, please cue the cock. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.